Welcome back to Good Morning LaLa, and it's Friday Feels, and we're talking about bringing your passion into your personal life and professional life, and this woman definitely does it. Very authentic. Ashley Stahl, she owns Cake Publishing and has a podcast called U-Turn Podcast. She has many awards, accolades, and all the above, but she's a dear girlfriend of mine. How are you?
I'm great. It's so nice to be here with you. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
I would say when I think about Ashley, I think about how authentic you are.
Thank you.
You're really authentic. I don't know what it's. I don't even know how you tell when someone's authentic or not. It's just a thing, and you have that thing.
Thank you. Well, I think the body feels, right? So we know when something's a yes or a no, and I think so many people are disconnected, which is what U-turn is about turning back to yourself. Sometimes I'm like, man, I'm making so many U-turns, I'm gonna be in the same place. But
I always joke, my GPS is just spinning. It's like recalculating for like 5 years. Recalculating. Yeah. So what was the moment you made a U-turn?
I started my career in my early 20s in counterterrorism. So don't know if you expected that one.
You don't hear that one often.
The look on your face was like, and I would say it was just a misunderstanding in my career. I think that I was trying to figure out who I was. I wanted to help women and I wanted to be of service in some way. And as somebody who traveled and learned languages, I thought this would be a great career path and fascinating for me. But what I realized along the way was that I was a really good job hunter after not being able to get a job and graduating. And that was what taught me what I was really loving. And I talked to Erin about this, which is, I think when you follow what feels good, getting back to your body, there's a lot of purpose on the periphery of that. And so in my case, it was like I was following working in counterterrorism, which ironically felt good in some way, being of service. But on the periphery of that, I learned how to be a really amazing job hunter, created a course online, ended up having 500,000 millennial women go through some of the content, and we expanded into 31 countries. So that was an obvious U-turn. And I've continued to make my little U-turns since then.
Pivot here and there.
But I think that what the girls like about you especially is because you share your own personal struggles you go through even today. And I don't know if you feel comfortable, but I was on her podcast. It hasn't come out yet.
Yeah.
But what was that, last week? Or it
was last week. I was in a vortex with you,
right?
like something about the doctor, Erin. I was like, whoa.
But tell them a little bit about all the stuff that's gone down your life.
Yeah. Couple months. Well, even the past couple months, I had bronchitis, and then my sister passed away unexpectedly, which was huge. And then I went to a workshop, and I was telling Erin, that I sat down on a wood balcony, scooted over, got 50 splinters in my butt, literally people picking them out.
Oh no.
Yeah, and then after that, I opened up my Uber car door, and a semi drove by and hit the door off of the car. So I think when situations like this keep coming, I'm like, okay, what is the message? Like, what am I supposed to receive and learn to slow down, to ground myself? Like, what do I need to do? But I think that I think life is the ultimate coach. Having had a job hunt platform, I was a career coach. And so to me, life is the coach, and I just be with questions and let life show me. And so for me, I've just been like, what is going on? Why are all of these lemony snicket, unfortunate series of events happening? And what am I supposed to learn from it and stay as grounded as I can?
What do you think is going on?
I think I'm supposed to slow down, obviously, because if you're opening your car door and a semi's driving by, obviously I'm not looking behind me as I'm opening a door. I think that if I'm at a workshop sitting on the ground, scooting on wood, I'm not realizing, I'm on wood, things like that. Just to really, really center yourself, get present. That's the message that I'm getting.
So how are you
this.
doing that?
I think the first thing is meditation. I'm a huge fan of the Insight Timer app, and if anybody wants brownie points on it, it's get noise-canceling earphones. That's been my favorite thing. I have Bose noise-canceling earphones. I put it on before I go to bed. I pick a meditation on that app. It's all completely free and get lost in it.
It's a great app.
Yeah.
Thank you for being so vulnerable about what's going on right now, what you've been doing, because when people hear, okay, she contributes to Forbes and she's Power 30 under 30, people will assume you've got it all together all of the time.
Yeah. It's just an elevator pitch, isn't it? You know what I've said? It's like the longer the bio, I used to put on career summits and weekend seminars, kind of Tony Robbins mini style. And I used to think the longer the bio, the less that they've done. Because it's like, can you imagine if I give you a bio that was like, this is Ashley Stahl and she created air, It's like done. Accomplishments speak for themselves and success is really noisy. And so I found that I've gotten less and less connected to my elevator pitch, and having worked in counterterrorism, having the podcast, I start to talk more and more about things I'm really passionate about, like the U-Turn podcast, because it's about connecting with people and being of support to them. And that's what lights me up, really. And so that's what I've been doing, and it's making an impact. And whether I impact one person or just myself, I'm not attached to how that looks.
Just love that. And I wonder about that. I think that's something that lots of us can be challenged by. I know I've been challenged by it. Sort of that dance between sort of sharing what you're doing and your accomplishments and your achievements and all that good stuff, self-promotion, and then letting accomplishments and achievements speak for themselves.
Yeah.
And we live in this very noisy world that is consumed with self-promotion.
Yeah.
And you can see both the value and the sort of drawbacks.
Yeah.
So how does one walk that, or sort of dance that dance, or walk that tightrope?
Well, what I'm finding is that friends were telling me the other day, they're like, Ashley, you know the most powerful people. And I think a lot of people have strategies and ways to connect with people, but to me, I've just tried to get back to myself every time. And whenever I feel my body have so much energy on it, I don't call it nerves, I don't call it, I'm just like, okay, get back to myself, because there's energy that's like distracting me in some way. And so I try to stay as centered as possible. And I think that's so refreshing for so many people, because how often do you have a conversation where people are looking you in the eye, or people are really asking how you're doing? We're so used to walking past each other in the hallway. People remember me because of it. I never make assumptions. I went to a networking event when I moved to DC and was learning how to job hunt, which eventually became my Job Offer Academy course. And I remember talking to a taxi driver, and I had no assumptions. I just talked to him, and you'd think at a networking event, you just want to talk to everybody and get as many business cards as possible, make it rain business cards. But I talked to the taxi driver, and I was really present with him. Turns out he was the Clintons' taxi driver.
Wow.
And he ended up getting me a meeting in the White House with their team. And so
You didn't even need to go to the workshop.
yeah, they're all just talk to the taxi driver. Yeah.
That's
love
what
that.
you do, because it's almost like you come from this real humble space that, like, you could be preaching, you can do whatever, and instead you're always like, you're coming back to like learning from every single person, and that's,
Thank you.
it's such a great quality.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think at a young age, my dad lost his company. He had 300 employees in a building in Century City. He lost it all. So I think I grew up around a lot of wealth and then a lot of loss. And it wasn't, it was near bankruptcy. And so for me, as an adult, I've created companies, and it's given me a level of detachment where I've failed, I've succeeded. I think it's the quality of your life is tied to the meaning you make of your failures, right? And people who are highly successful, they must have made something mean in their head that it wasn't that bad, or that they could keep going. And other people make it mean that they need to stop and they've gone too far. And
It's such a profound point, and I think it's easy to forget that we assign all of the meaning to all of the experiences that we have happen in our lives, and all the conditions and all the circumstances, that none of it has to mean or does mean necessarily anything until you ascribe value and meaning to it.
Exactly. And I think a lot of people are looking for clarity right now in their life. Like, I need to figure out what I need to do. 71% of the workforce is job hunting right now, hence the Job Offer Academy, And I've found that it's not about clarity. Most people are just disconnected from themselves. And that's what the U-Turn podcast, the book I'm writing, it's all about, is just getting back to yourself.
That's everything.
Yeah.
Thank you
I
for
love
doing
it.
that.
Yeah.
So where can they find YouTube podcast?
So you can go.
U-Turn not YouTube podcast.
U-Turn
podcast.
Yeah.
YouTube has enough publicity.
I know. You can make a U-turn on that. You can find me at Ashley Stahl on Instagram. I post all my episodes there. I just learned how to swipe up on Instagram. Not the best tech person, so I get excited every time I'm stories like swipe up. It's another episode. So you'll see that for yours.
The give.
Yeah, exactly. The gifts, and you're going to be on really, really soon the next couple of weeks. So that'll be really exciting.
excited.
Yeah, such an awesome conversation.
So excited.
Yeah.
Well, you're amazing. Look forward
Thanks
to many
for
more
having me.
adventures together for
Yeah,
sure.
me too.
Yeah,
Thanks for having me.
Stay tuned. We'll be back with more. Good morning, LaLa.